Dawn Bushhouse. I'm managing editor at TM Forum, and I'm joined here today with Justin Paul from Amdocs and Larry Goldman from Analysys Mason. And these folks have been conducting some research on the business case for NFV, which is sorely needed. Some of our own research has shown that about a third of the operators we surveyed cited the business case or lack of one as a potential stumbling block for them. So this is a great subject to be talking about today. So I'd like to start, Justin, by asking you to tell us a bit about why you wanted to conduct research on the business case. Why is it important?
Certainly. The reason it's important is we wanted to move the NFV market forward as a company, and a lot of the debates were around the technology rather than what is the service, what is the impact, what does it actually mean in terms of NFV and SDN and the impact it has on the end user. And we thought the way to do that and help accelerate this was to actually look at some detailed business cases so that people could understand that there was a very positive business case around NFV, and hopefully that would move the industry forward somewhat.
Okay. And Larry, tell us a little bit about how you conducted this research. Who did you conduct it with? How did you do it?
So, in many ways, we look at this kind of issue. What are the business case? What's driving people commercially to deploy any kind of new technology on a continuing basis? And we were certainly doing that with NFV over the last couple of years. We were talking to our customers about it. And as we talked to Amdocs about it, they said, we'd like to be more specific, more detailed, a real business case that we can put in front of a CFO. So we talked to various operators around the world. We looked at our own research that we've already been doing and analyzed it from the point of view of how to build out a business case, how to put the right numbers in it. Some of doing a business case is to understand what the key parameters you're going to look at. So for instance, we decided to focus in on Tier 1 operators, and the particular case around virtual CPE for enterprises, and another one for virtual CPE for consumers, and these were very large cases, 17 million consumers, 110,000 desktops. So those are some of the things we bounded and chose in the research process.
Okay, so what were some of the most important things that you discovered in the research? Where are we with the business case for residential and enterprise?
Yeah. Well, I think one of the things is that the virtual CPE case is the most straightforward case. You are working in an area that there is established business in. It involves new equipment and things that can be virtualized, and it's a little bit separate from the core of the network. And so it's maybe in many ways the least disruptive, although there certainly are some things that are disruptive about it. So the CPE case is very important. And then we looked at enterprise and residential. And the biggest differences are in the enterprise case is an opportunity for service providers to actually go get new revenue. And I think the cases where you can generate new revenue are always the best cases. Okay? Right. So new revenue wasn't available before, and it's actually a better case for the case situation that we evaluated than the residential CPE case is. But an opportunity to go win new business, win new revenues, establish ability to continue to upsell. So that's a great case. The residential broadband takes a little bit longer to pay off. It involves an established customers who are already using video services, already have the customer premise equipment in place, and this is a case of over time replacing that with virtual CPE, as well as handling the maintenance issues and so forth like that, to move the deployment into a NFV-driven virtual environment.
Right. So if you could quantify it a little bit, what could a service provider potentially see in terms of revenue generation, or what could they save on the residential side?
So there was additional profits in the enterprise case, additional profits of about $1.5 billion in the case we looked at. So a significant amount of money. And it was, as we said, it's a Tier 1 case. It can be certainly scaled for other environments, but 110,000 desktops for the kinds of services we're looking at in terms of VPN, security services, and so forth. And the overall business case paid off in less than 4 years. A very strong financials that any CFO would find to be very positive for it, driven primarily by new revenue, but also by a cost-effective deployment model.
Okay. So, Justin, let me ask you, if we're talking about doing this at scale, it means a lot of changes in the OSS BSS, and a lot of those changes have to be automated. So, can you talk a little bit about why that's so important and how we get there?
Yes, certainly. I think you're right. The OSS and the BSS issues are really critical around NFV. If you deal with the BSS side, for starters, it's really important that you create these new services not just to adopt new technology, but to generate revenue, generate new opportunities for consumers and for the service providers themselves. And that's one of the things we've been focused on, is that very tight integration between the operational side and the BSS side. From the operational side, it's challenging because when you introduce NFV, in the perfect world you'd introduce it into a pure virtual network and a lot of your operational issues go away. But the reality is you have to introduce this into a hybrid network on top of existing layers of physical networks, and you have to find a way of orchestrating those and making them work together. And it becomes a lot more complex. And one of the things we've been looking at is how to bring those two networks together and how to orchestrate and operationalize those hybrid networks. And that's probably the most significant challenge for the industry today, blocking adoption of NFV and SDN services.
Right, and needing the APIs and the common information models in order to do that too, right? So one thing I did want to ask about the research, you noted that first mover advantage is really important in getting these results.
Right.
And so why is it, and how can a service provider be first?
So, well, service providers first by attacking these various issues that are in the way, the OSS issues and so forth, so that they can go at scale, so that then they have a competitive advantage. Essentially, they have a price advantage and they have an offer that nobody else has. But of course, any of their competitors can catch up, and once they see it happening and so forth, they will. So whoever's first will have an advantage for a period of time. That payoff we're talking about will happen for the first entrant, not the followers.
Right.
And over time, then that advantage will dissipate as their competitors catch up and there's more pricing pressure and so forth.
Okay. So where is this research headed? Are you going to be working on other business cases, or what's next?
Well, we certainly are. We're working right now on a case around video. So if you look at things that are mainstream to operators' businesses, it's the carriage of video both into the residential environment as well as onto mobile. And we are hard at work on that and looking at the various factors, and I think that there's the virtualization of the video content servers and the virtualization of the content delivery network. There's significant payoff in virtualizing those, and that's a cost benefit. But as well, there are complexities because as you virtualize it, then making this network work efficiently, it's a new kind of network, and so it's all these things to make them happen at scale require more than just solving the NFV problem. They require making it really operational within the overall business.
Right. Good. Well, I'm looking forward to the next bit of research. So thank you for joining me.
Thank you, Dawn.